if I am being honest, I have done it. So what I would recommend is having it put close to your mouth as much as possible, like not right next to it, but up high on your shirt. And then on top, if you hold that, now you can tell it's on. And if you click it once, you don't hold and press it. So. Yeah. So if you hold and press again, that'll turn it on. And now you see that it's muted. So if you click the top, you can see.
push it once, now it's on.
It should have been right.
Is he gonna be?
No, I'm going.
Oh, you're gonna do it.
Let everybody know.
Let's get you.
So I'm going to. Oh, yeah.
You play all the way through once and then.
Well, yeah, I'll do something.
That's wonderful. That's really cool. We've got a story for her. Yes, yep. Perfect. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Okay. I'm going to get my script. I still don't have it word for word memorized. So, good morning and welcome to today's service. We're grateful that you're here with us today. My name is Joe Green, and I'm your service coordinator here today at All Souls Church, where our mission is to seek truth, practice love, and celebrate life. Our principles for today's service are, number 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and number 6, the goal of world community, peace, liberty, and justice for all. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you've been with us for a long time, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known or not known, whatever your heritage, you are welcome here. Whatever questions you hold, whatever truths you seek, whatever sorrow you have known, and whatever joy has filled your heart, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, you are welcome here. Today, I would especially like to welcome our speaker, Nieema Thasing. Thasing, yes? Okay, perfect.
And
And Danae Burba, welcome. And our guest pianist today, Mitchell Groot. That was quite lively at the beginning. That was very nice. Yeah, absolutely. And because it's a service that I'm coordinating, I welcome you all to rise or do whatever you feel compelled to do to welcome a neighbor near you. Let's all say hello this morning. Here, I've got right there. Yep. Mm-hmm. I sure try. Yep. Yes, please. Yep. I like that. We had the opportunity to visit another church last week, and they did the thing. You know, we all shook hands, and that was nice. So I bring that here whenever I can. For a few announcements, I call your attention to the notice of next Sunday's program at the bottom of your order of service. Please continue to read our weekly email blasts for dates and details of upcoming events and opportunities. And if you're not receiving those, speak with someone in the rear of the room, probably JC today, yep, about getting on those. It's a once-a-week email, lets you know what's coming up. I invite you to stay for conversation, coffee, and a circle discussion after today's service. And are there any other announcements? Liz.
Hello, everyone. I'm Liz. I'm the president of this lovely establishment here. And I'm reaching out to your inner baker. If anybody is interested to sign up for some baked goods for the 28th of February, we are hosting the Augustana worship service at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they've asked us to bring treats. So, because who doesn't love a treat at 10 o'clock? Anyway, so if you want to sign up for that, that sign-up's in the entryway. Thank you.
Going on, Mark?
Good morning. I took a trip Friday, a bus trip up to the Capitol with a group from South Dakota Public Broadcasting to show support for them in their budget negotiation. But on the bus was an old friend. Some of you probably don't remember. Anybody know Kathy Breckelsbauer? Okay. All right. So Kathy was on the bus. And even on the way down to get on the bus, I heard on the news that Kathy's the representative for Bread for the World in this area, that Bread for the World is asking that we contact our senators and congressmen. Bread for the World doesn't get any money from the government. It's all donations from churches and individuals. But where they deliver it in places all over the world, many of those organizations are funded through USAID. And if you've been listening to the news, you know that that's been cut greatly. So they have food on ships that they can't get unloaded, food in warehouses that they can't get distributed. They can't hire trucks and crews and people to get that food out. So they're asking if you would call your senator and congressman. I have their phone numbers if anybody wants them. You can find them online, but I'll make copies of this if anybody wants them. You just ask me afterwards. And as long as I'm up here, a plug for if you might call your state and local legislators and ask them to restore the full funding of South Dakota Public Broadcasting too.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Sandrine. I wanted to bring your attention to two events coming up this week. Wednesday night is the Women's Circle from 7 to 8:30. So it's not going to happen here for the first time. We are moving to the Sela space on 49th Street. And the other one is the Desk Cafe. We had pretty much, I know you were, for those who were here last week, you got a taste of what Desk Cafe is. And we are now planning on providing a Desk Cafe every month at the library downtown, the public library. And this will happen this coming Saturday from 3 to 4:45. And I will invite you to join. It's very interesting.
Thank you, everybody. And now, Mitchell will play our prelude. That was great, thank you. This morning for our chalice lighting, I'll be reading number 431. O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who are gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting. It's by Barbara Wells. First song today is number 149 in your gray hymnal. Lift every voice and sing, and please stand as you feel compelled and are able to do so. Our first reading today is number 579 in your gray hymnal. The limits of tyrants. I will read the Roman text. Please respond with the italics. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground.
They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its waters.
This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be moral and physical, but it must be a struggle.
Power concedes nothing without the demand. It never did and it never will.
Find out what people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice which will be imposed upon them.
The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the ignorance of those whom they oppress.
It's words by Frederick Douglass. It's Time now for our story for all ages. I'll be reading Max and the Tagalong Moon by Floyd Cooper. Reminder, it is Black History Month. I've chosen an African-American author and illustrator for today's story, and it's a favorite of my kids, actually, so happy to be reading it today. I invite the kids or anybody else to come up and listen. Max and the Tagalong Moon. One night, as Max was leaving Grandpa's house, he reached up to give Grandpa a big hug goodbye. In the sky behind Grandpa appeared a big fine moon. "Look, Grandpa, the moon. That old moon will always shine for you, on and on." Grandpa and Max gazed quietly at the big moon together as it embraced them in soft yellow light. Max smiled at the moon and Grandpa, then climbed into the car. "Bye-bye, Grandpa, bye-bye, moon." As the car pulled away, Max kept his eyes on Grandpa until he disappeared from sight and all he saw was the moon. Max kept his eyes on that moon, waiting for it to disappear too. The long ride home was swervy-curvy, this way and that all the way, and the moon seemed to tag along. Max giggled as he watched the beautiful bright orb flicker through the passing trees, trailing behind the car as it traveled home, this way and that, playing peekaboo. Up a hill, down a hill, the moon was ever there. Over a bridge, around a curve, the moon bounced along. Around a tree, past a field of sleeping cows, the moon stayed quietly with Max. Through a small town with roundabout streets, Max gazed as the moon kept up. At the mouth of a tunnel and out the other end, Max smiled when he saw the moon there waiting. Dark clouds tumbled across the sky, the stars and nightingales all faded away. Max searched the darkness and wondered, where is the moon? Grandpa said it would always shine for me. Finally home, Max took one last look up at the empty night sky. I guess that old moon couldn't shine for me all the way home. Upstairs in bed, the room was dark. Max felt alone. He missed Grandpa. He missed that tag-along moon. Then slowly, very slowly, Max's bedroom began to fill with a soft yellow glow. The clouds faded away and the moon peeked through. Max gazed up at that magic ball of light and thought about what Grandpa said. That old moon will always shine for me, on and on. Max knew then that whenever he saw the moon, he would think of Grandpa, on, and he slept soundly embraced in soft yellow light. You ever taken a long trip and watched the moon just go with you the whole time? It's a memory that I have as a kid. We would camp a lot, and so we would drive places at night. All right, well, we'll sing the children out. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. In this congregation, we found it helpful to share the ups and downs of our lives by the practice of taking a stone, warming it in our hands, and expressing our thoughts of joy or concern then placing the stone in the water so that the ripples of the water carry our joys and concern out into the world. I'll begin. Yeah, good? I'll begin by taking a stone and expressing joy and maybe a concern. I had the good fortune of going to Pier this week, in part for legislative session and in part for some other meetings, where I got to meet with lots of legislators who are, they're struggling. They're having they're not having a great time out there, and you can just feel it in the room with them. They're frustrated, I think, and I don't know. That seems like a tough way to legislate, to be frustrated all the time. And so my joy is that I got to meet with them and that we were all able to share a meal, despite oftentimes differences in terms of how we feel about certain things. And then my concern is just for them to find clarity and find peace as they're making decisions that are impacting a lot of people.
Dan, Amy, and I were able to go to a senior living yesterday to do our violin performance, and I'm especially proud of Dan and I because it was our first time we were able to perform the Bach double, which is a big reach technically for the both of us. So it was very, very exciting to be able to do that this week.
What he said.
Hi, I'm Scott. I've just started a new job about 3 months ago, and it was from a solar company that went bankrupt in August, and we were keeping the contracts alive as well as we could. And a lot of harm and hurt happened to the customers because there was no service for 7 months. But, and the companies never figured out how to give kudos to their employees yet. And I had a customer that I treated like everyone else, and they wrote my boss a handwritten letter, a note, saying, "Thank you, you have a great employee here, thank you for having him, and here's a $10 gift certificate from Starbucks for him."
Hi, Edie Ann Hafke. I understand from having read online that there's a bill up for election come Monday that the legislators have to vote on to decide whether marriage law for same-sex couples can remain as couples. And I hope that they will be able to vote no on it, because it's something that we all worked so hard to be able to keep maintained so that same-sex couple can remain as a couple and such. So, and I have thoughts and prayers for other people out there that are needing that. Thank you.
Now I take this final stone and place it in the water to symbolize all of the joys and concerns that are with us but remain unsaid. Let's pause for a moment of silent reflection as we consider what we've just heard and what is in our own hearts and minds. Second song today is in our gray hymnal, number 156, O Freedom. Please stand to sing as you feel compelled and are able to do so. Our second reading is number 584 in the gray hymnal. And this is a responsorial as well. I'll read the Roman text. Please respond with the italics. Number 584, a network of mutuality. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny.
Justice is everywhere, is a threat to justice everywhere.
There are some things in our social system to which all of us ought to be maladjusted.
Hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that.
We must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation.
The foundation of such a method is love.
Before it is too late, we must narrow the gaping chasm between our proclamations of peace and our lowly deeds which precipitate and perpetuate war.
One day we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal of conceit, but a means by which we arrive at that goal.
We must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means.
We shall give out the mountain of despair, a stone of hope.
Those words by the Reverend Martin Luther King, Jr. Well, I have the distinct privilege today to introduce to you Nieema Thasing, whom I did not get a chance to ask for a biography, and so I hope that you will tell us a little bit about yourself as you begin speaking to us today.
How long are you guys going to be here?
You know, no more than 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
okay.
I can handle that.
Thank you for being here. And is your mic on? We're good?
I believe I am.
Yep, okay, great, thank you.
And before I speak, I have to invite Danae to come and sit right next to me, because Danae is here with me in the capacity of the secretary and the do-all, be-all to everything. This is some amaze sauce right here. And so she is going to, I hope I don't mess up by doing this, but gotta be done. Can you, okay, go, okay. Look, see, look at this. I'm trying to do this and she's gonna go over there. See, that's what I'm talking about. No, you can't have her.
I am a nervous public speaker, so the less I have to do with my hands, the better. Hi, everyone. My name is Danae Verba. I use she, her pronouns. I see a couple faces I recognize, but I'm not quite sure why I recognize everyone, but that, I think, is a function of growing up in Sioux Falls. I've lived here, well, I was born here when it was McKinnon. I went to Harvey Dunn, Patrick Henry, O'Gorman. I left after high school, could not get out of here fast enough for many reasons, one of which was it was like negative 60 degrees that winter, and I was 17 and making life decisions, so I decided to go to college somewhere warm. It didn't have anything to do with the degree or any other opportunity. I just wanted to not be cold anymore. So I just bring that up as a reminder that people sometimes make decisions for immediate comfort. And I am very nervous speaking or performing in public, but when a good friend asks for help, sometimes I find the strength in myself to lean into the discomfort, to feel the cold or the nervousness and do what is necessary. And let me change that to an and. I am so unprepared. Life has been lifing. I have a sick dog at home that has been having accidents like every 2 hours on the hour. So that's been fun. So I'm tired. I don't have my comforts with me, the things that I would normally have, like a piece of paper, a pre-printed speech that I've reviewed and revised and rehearsed. So I'm winging it, and I feel like a chaos agent. And this is not my natural state. My natural state is spreadsheets, okay? Excel, right? So I wanted to let you know a little bit about who I am, where I'm from, what I'm feeling right now before I try, thank you, hi, before I try to share about the work that we are doing. My experience, I think, is normal in a way where there's nothing exceptional about me. There's some things I'm good at, there's some things I'm not so good at, and I find myself working with good people, doing important work, finding ways that I can take my sparks, my skills, and lend it to the effort. And then my friends also sometimes challenge me to develop those things that aren't well practiced into new skills, and public speaking is one of those for me. I recently gave a speech at the Women's March a couple weeks back, and due to my lack of free time and focus to get a perfectly prepared and curated speech for this audience, what I want to do is recycle the speech that I gave there because it is the sentiment that I want to share today. So at your pleasure, I will use my phone. I apologize for the technology up here, but needs must. It's all good, she says. Okay. My friend says it's good. I feel much better. Thank you. All right, so without further ado, the NAACP has long stood at the forefront of advocacy for racial and gender equity. We fight for women's rights, reproductive freedom, and the dismantling of systems that disproportionately harm women of color. But this fight isn't just for BIPOC women, this fight is for us all. If we keep fighting the same way, expecting different results, we will remain stuck in the same cycles of injustice. So I challenge us all with this phrase: don't try harder, try differently. Women of color have been told to try harder, work harder to overcome systemic barriers, speak louder to have our voices heard, prove ourselves over and over again. But trying harder hasn't dismantled systemic racism. It hasn't ended gender discrimination or solved the disparities in healthcare, education, or economic opportunity. Living as a woman of color in this community reveals hard truths: hostile workplaces, gender discrimination, discriminatory policing, and overt racism. These are not issues we can solve by trying harder. They require new people joining collective action, different policies, and a deeper commitment to equity. It is time to try differently. Trying differently means addressing the systems, not just the symptoms. I challenge you to take one different action to lend your voice to the resources to fight for justice. By that I mean align your efforts and join forces with those who are already making a difference. Try different strategies with different people and different coalitions. Vote. VOTE, every time. Get out and vote. Become a member of an organization. Show up at their meetings. Try joining a committee. If you're already in an organization and they need more hands, sign up. If you are already in a committee, maybe it's time to chair a committee. If you're chairing a committee, maybe it's time to step into a leadership role. If you're already in a leadership role, maybe it's time to reach out and form more coalitions with other organizations. If you're already in coalition, maybe it's time to get to peer and lobby. If you're already lobbying, maybe it's time to run for office. There's always one thing that you can do, like I'm doing today, something that feels a little different, but is achievable. And with your friends' help, you can try differently and find success. For those of you who are in positions of privilege, whether it's resources, influence, or power, you can try differently as well. Listen to minoritized groups and follow their lead. Offer resources to minority women specifically, women who are already navigating intersections of gender, poverty, and power while fighting for social justice in their valuable, limited free time. Trying differently means questioning the status quo. It means supporting organizations that advocate for necessary change, like the NAACP, who we're representing here today, that have been doing this work in the United States since 1909 and in South Dakota since 1944. It means advocating for systemic solutions that ensure every woman, no matter their background, has access to the resources and opportunities they deserve. When you are tired, and we are tired, when it all feels difficult, remember, don't try harder, try differently. Together we can create systems that don't rely solely on generosity, but instead solve problems at their roots. Together we can create a community where everyone can thrive. Thank you. So, appreciate that. So that is a speech that I gave to a group of people at the Women's March a month ago. But the underlying message is the same. It might feel like I'm saying two things. I might feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth when I say join up with people who are already doing the work, because that feels like the same thing. But we need different people, and we need different ideas, and we need different energy, and we need some people who've been doing the work to rest, and some people who have not leaned in to come to the front. So instead of creating the same problem that I feel we have in this state, where we have multiple wonderful organizations that are all trying to work the problem simultaneously with limited resources, let's bring them together. Let's try differently. Let's form coalitions that haven't existed before. Let's get new voices, new ideas, new energy in the room, and let's see what changes we can make. So I'd love to talk to any of you who are interested in knowing more at the end of service we have like a social time. If you want to know more, I'm secretary of the local NAACP. I also serve on a few other nonprofit boards, but if, ask me about it, I'll tell you all about it. But today I'm here for the NAACP. One of the ways that I'm able to sustain this work, even though I am tired, is that I have wonderful, beautiful people who do the work with me. One of whom is my friend Nieema. I met Nieema on Zoom during the pandemic, and she brought a lot of light and lift, perspective, and just joy to me. I'm gonna get emotional. So, Nieema has done a lot of wonderful work in many capacities, but she helps me every day. I am very honored to work with her. She has integrity, she has vision, she has warmth. So if you don't want to come talk to me later today, I hope you take time to introduce yourself to a one-of-a-kind human being who has done so much work for other people. I could tell you more, but there is not enough time. And you said you wanted to keep this to under 2 hours. So, in the interest of time, please just take my word for it. Nieema is a person you want to know and want to be near, because I feel like having her in my life makes my life better. So I would wish that on anybody. So my friend, Nieema Thasing.
Take a look at this young lady in a different way than what I intended, but God is good all the time. And as she was speaking, it dawned on me that she is the culmination of what I learned when I was a youngster, because my dad was a swimmer and he was not allowed in the Olympic pool. And I don't make any excuses for anybody, because I know people would say black don't crack, and I also knew black didn't fade in the pools. But my dad was not allowed in. She is an Olympian, an Olympic swimmer. And every time I look at her and think of the swimming aspect, forget about all the other amazing things that she is. But at 75 years old, it took this long for her to be what my dad had strived to be. And I just want to let that sink in. Yes, I am 75. This is not my first rodeo. You wanted me to say who I am? I am the daughter of my mom, who, between she and my dad, took me kicking and screaming on the train from Chicago when the Fort Snelling aspect of doing the work for the government called on people, and they called on my folks because of what they were doing. And me and my teddy bear were on the train as I was kicking and screaming. And brought to St. Paul, Minnesota, where there were, at that particular point in time, maybe 600 people that look like me, and I'm going to teach you something else. You will not ever hear me say, and if you have a pacemaker and grab your pearls, hold on. You will never hear me say, I am a minority. I'm a part of the global majority. And I say that because I'm also the president of the League of Women Voters in our, for state of South Dakota, and our leader for the national died suddenly, and they were looking for somebody to replace her. And then they happened to say, well, we want to ask you questions. But then they couldn't see my brown hand. Now, you know what Zoom is. You got the yellow hand, and I made it brown. She couldn't see it, and I said, no, you can see me. I'm still here. But what had happened was people were saying, oh, we need more minorities. We need to get them in here. And I'm thinking, okay, I thought that was enough. And then this woman stood up and said, well, I was in Africa, and the tribe I was with before I left started calling me auntie, and she was really proud. I'm like, is that interesting? That's special. But what ended up happening was I was asked what I wanted to see as the president of South Dakota in 5 years, what I would like to see the national. And I said, well, I'd like to see some verbiage change. She said, well, what do you mean? And that's what I said. I have never been, nor will I ever be, a minority. I'm a part of the majority. And there is no black land. There is no black land, right? We researched that. No, okay. Fact checking. So I am a highly melanated person. And I represent one aspect of melanation. I mean, I know you want to know more about me, but I'm going to tell you, this will make you know who I am. They got those bandages in Walmart. My husband saw them, brought them home, and I opening them up. He says, honey, you're not going to have any if you have a cut. I'm like, yeah, but I got to see which one looks good on that cut. Oh, yeah, that's who I am. I believe that, now I am a Muslim. I grew up in a Swedish Lutheran church, Minnesota Synod in St. Paul. I was a black Swede, and I was always asked what I wanted to be called because of my blackness. And because we were Swedish Negroes, Swedish Lutheran Negroes. But anyway, I said, well, just call me by my name. You know, it's not every day or every week things change for us. It just doesn't happen. Because, you know, if you are wanting to change your look, you can be bald. And if you are trying to fit in with a group of people that are balding, bald-headed, skin, whatever, you can do that. My son can't, my grandsons can't, and a whole bunch of other people's male entities who are melanated, highly melanated. You know, they can't do the same as melanemic people. So, you know, that's just the way of it. I am also a change agent with an extraordinarily big mouth. But there is nothing that I can do that isn't about change. Because I don't ride alone, as you can see. But I want to introduce you to my greatest comfort, my greatest gift. Honey, would you stand up, please? This is my husband. And when he got me to go to the Netherlands, it was the first time in my entire life I was an American. I was never, the whole time I was there, an African American. I was an American. The only thing I did that was naughty, people kept saying, how many languages do you speak? He speaks 5, reads 7. And my third year there, someone says, how many languages do you speak? Well, I just about had it, because it was just one. So I looked at her, and she's about this high, and which is odd because there are a lot of 7-foot people in the Netherlands. But anyway, I looked at her, and she says, well, how many do you speak? And I looked, and I said, 2. And she said, well, what is it? I said, English and Ebonics. And she says, oh. And she's like, oh, sorry about that. She's like this, how do I learn Ebonics? I looked at her, and I said, you have to be black. And she looked up at me. She said, oh, I won't learn. I felt that high. Really, I felt that high. There's a difference between what happens here in the United States and what happens in Europe. When the bombing happened for Iraq, everybody in Europe already knew there were no weapons of mass destruction, and as everything started, I'm yelling at the TV as we're late for an appointment. I had to yell at the TV in English, because, you know, TVs are multilingual. And it was different. I realized how little education I had. They were doing some stuff and saying, well, they was going to Afghanistan, or it was going over to here and there. And I'm, well, what airport? And he looked at me, he says, what do you mean? The trucks are going to just drive. From here over to, I felt about, again, I had no clue. There's a big difference. And the difference is we aren't that different. We are over here. He asked his dad how he thought the climate of Europe was in the Netherlands, and his dad told him point blank, if you're going to go, this wouldn't be a bad time to go, because I was over there, my family was saying come home. So his dad said it's time to go. You're looking at a man whose mother, my mother-in-law, who has since transitioned, could not deal with fireworks because she remembered the bombing when they were trying to hit the city of Rotterdam, and they were in the harbor. So she remembers all of that. Fireworks go off, it's almost like when I was working construction. Fire in the hole, everybody hit the deck. I'm the only one standing there like, what? And then it was like, oh, silly, you need to just get down. There are a lot of things that are different, but there are a lot of things that are the same. The fact of the ruling of melanemic people going over to Africa and saying, you will have the Bible or you will not eat. Those days are gone. But I should probably take one of those stones and go like this and say, this is cool because I didn't come here to make anybody feel comfortable and make you feel better about whatever it is that you got in your heart and soul, because that ain't none of my business. That's between you and God. So there you go. I don't do that. I'm open. NAACP is a necessity for a lot of reasons because, like I said, this isn't my first rodeo. I don't have to look at anyone as they ask me a question, or tell me, Dr. King was so good. He was so well spoken. He was this, that, and the other. And I was reminded of that when I'm thinking of the little lady, because it was a little lady in St. Paul that said, he speaks so well for your people. And I said, he's got 5 degrees, I guess so. But it's not that different now. It is now the time for me to tell you the truth, because I know y'all got a lot of heart, and you might go out and protest or stand around with a sign or what have you. But I want to take you back to slavery. I'm talking the way that I'm talking or speaking up, and I'm not getting into line. I'm not saying, Master, is we sick? No, Master, something wrong with you. You better get that checked. He ain't sick. You better get that checked. So I'm feeling really good because I don't have to do that here. I don't have to do that. I don't have to, it was funny because I had said, you think we should put together something so that they can go and look up things for Black history? And I can see that was not a necessity because you're aware of Black history. I don't have to tell you who did the peanuts and who did this, that, and the other. You're already aware of that. And if you're not, that ain't my problem either. You've got to know. You've got to know. You can't just run out here like they did in Brookings, because we're from Elkton. And Brookings, right after George Floyd, the march there, I'm telling people, okay, yeah, you march, go ahead, march, everything is going to be just fine, but you three can't go and think that it's okay with your 7 children under 10. And it's going to be all right. You need to have somebody on the 4 corners and doing this and that and the other. Oh, Nieema, you're just... No, that's not going to happen. As they turned the corner and saw, what was it, 7 or 5 people with AR-15s or what them big long, you shouldn't really have them guns. And then the skull and bones covering their face, the mask and whatnot. Well, they won't be doing that again because they saw what it was that I was saying finally. I'm saying this to you guys. I know you're not going to have a bunch of kids out there parading and whatnot, but I need to also let you know that there's another side to your love. People went down to the South because they loved the folks that were there because they were all children of God. So they went down there, and people just think about the little girls being bombed. But there were buses that were bombed. Rabbis, pastors, bishops died with civil rights. And people don't remember that one of the reasons Dr. King rose was because of civil rights movement. I get real silly. I'm going to do this here because I feel like y'all family. Back in the day, it was signs. We have been oppressed. This is before Black Lives Matter. This was, how many people are old enough to remember the Rainbow Coalition and all those organizations? Well, people were walking around with signs, and this person whose hair will not be discussed, but she came up running, I've been depressed, and go up and go, it's oppressed. That was back in the day. In this day and age, with posse comitatus or whatever else you want to say, it is getting to the point where you can no longer raise your voice and go against what has happened and what is happening. And I want you all to be aware of that. I love the fact that you're going to go out there and in some cases be willing to risk your lives, but that backs up to what it is that she had said, do differently. I want to be able to meet you on the street and say, hey, Nieema, I had me one of them sticks, and that was protection, knowing how to protect and whatnot. I want to make sure that you are aware of that and you do that, because I see some of you willing to stand up for what it is that you know is the right way, the right thing to do. I don't have to tell you folks that one of my favorite songs is What If God Was One of Us? Because they say, well, Jesus is coming back. And they call me a blasphemer because I say, Jesus might have come back. You might have had him arrested. He might have already been shot. And when you think about that, it makes you upset. And I can understand that. I can see that within you. But do differently. You have to do differently. And you have to trust that there is a divine plan. I see some of you talking about, well, okay, God, I'm going to give this to you. And then 10 minutes later, do you need a little help? Can I assist you taking care of that thing that I assigned to you? I can see all of that. But the one thing that I see more than anything else is that this is a group of people, congregation, however you call yourselves, who believe in love as a primary and believe in service also as a primary. I just would like you to hear what I'm saying and do differently, work with people differently. And I know some of you want to have people over to get to know people and whatnot. If you've got some people that are speaking another language and you want to get to know them and work together and whatnot, provide the food. We say, I'd like to come to your house. You come to the church and we will get together and yeah, people want to help you understand them, but at the same time, they might only have enough food to feed their family. And you have meetings and people don't show up and you say, well, they didn't show up. They must not be concerned. They might be working a shift that does not allow them to take off for a meeting. So being able to give people grace and know that, hey, what it is your business, but going in there and demanding to know exactly what's what isn't. So that's one of the things that I wanted to say. NAACP is always looking for committed people, people who are having the love. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, time. I'm supposed to. Okay. I got that. Well, we're doing them signals. He's saying time, and he also said thank you. Namaste. But anyway, that's the main thing that I wanted to get across. It's not what I was going to say, but when I came in and felt what it was, she knows I was like, oh, this is cool. I feel comfortable. And when and genuine when I say it doesn't have to come in here and make you feel comfortable. That's a big deal. That is a big. Can you, at 75, and people can talk to me. Do you know how many times I've talked to people? And they wanted me to make them feel comfortable. I explain it. Well, what about? Oh, anyway, okay. Time, because you guys gotta go. We'll be here to have questions. I have cards. I can give you cards, or I can even leave them on the table. They're just my own personal cards, because there's not enough time. But I'm willing to take the time, especially Zoom. I don't play with the snow. I'm a Zoom baby. I am a Zoom baby. So let's Zoom. Let's have conversation. Let's all get involved. As you know, who said, get into some.
Good trouble.
I didn't hear you. Good trouble. Get in some good trouble. I thank you for inviting me. I'm glad that you were able to allow us to have conversation with you, and we'd be more than willing to have more conversation. And I do, every once in a while, outside of Zooming, I do come and eat, but you got to have some good cooks. So may I stop now? Okay.
Can I take the term melanemic? Am I allowed to use that?
Do you breathe?
Because I really like it.
Oh, well, it's the truth. I'm a highly melanemic people, melanated people. It's the truth. I mean, the sooner we get to the real deal, the better it's all going to be. You know, I had people, I can't speak of Juneteenth. I'm not melanated. Well, you understand why Juneteenth is, right? Well, yeah, I will keep on talking. Yes, please do.
Okay, I will. And thank you. And I really would let you go for 2 hours. I mean, I actually would, but I think we have to get some folks out of
He's
here,
good.
right? Yeah.
He was real, I
Good.
was, and I probably was like this, and I didn't see him in my periphery, and then he stood up like this. Oh, okay.
Perfect. Yep, good.
Excellent.
Well, we wouldn't be a church if we didn't ask you for money, so now's the time to break out the collection plates, and reminder that half of what we collect today will be donated to the NAACP. And you're on. So there was no sheet music there. Was that all from memory? Yes. That's incredible. Wow. I can't wear shoes with laces because I can't remember how to tie them, and you just did that out of memory. Our third reading today is in your gray hymnal, number 589. Am I correct on that? Yes, 589. It is a responsorial. I'll read the Roman text, read the italics back to me as you feel compelled to do so. Peace. Peace means the beginning of a new world.
It means that nations are friends. It means joy to the world.
Peace is quiet and calm. It is rest. It is silence after a storm.
It is love and friendship. It is the world's dream of dreams.
Peace brings comfort and happiness. It brings bread to the hungry. It brings prosperity to the nations.
It means the strong respect the weak, the great respect the small, and many respect the few.
It is like spring after winter.
It brings sunshine into the world. It is like sweet music after harsh sounds.
It is pupils of the Lincoln School. It's something that I'm not familiar with. Our third song is in your gray hymnal, number 116, I'm on my way. We are going to listen to Carol play it once through first, correct? Hopefully. And then we will do what we will do with it. That wasn't bad. We did that okay. Good job, Carol. You got us through that. We'll extinguish the chalice. Please say the words with me. The chalice is extinguished, but the light goes with us out into the world. Carol will play the postlude, Mitchell will play the postlude to conclude the service, perhaps from memory again. And then I think we'll truncate just a little bit of the normal fellowship time. We'll go down, we'll get coffee, grab a bar or whatever, and then probably come up here fairly quickly after. So let's do like a 5-minute and then ring the bell. Yeah? Great. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll see you downstairs. We'll ring the bell in 5.